All right. Hi, my name is Christina Pulver, and I'm the Director of Operations here at Forza One Volleyball and Recruiting. And we are joined today with head coach Sanja Tomasevic from Arizona State Volleyball. Thank you so much for taking the time today for this call. And we're all just, I think, really trying to get creative and come up with solutions for areas in our lives that are being impacted. And right now, since our athletes are not able to go on college visits or learn about what your programs offer in person, why not do it virtually? So we're recording this call today for our athletes to view later and allowing them the opportunity to get to know Arizona State and your program, and why not while they're at home physically distancing. So how are you? What are you guys doing right now? You just came off the best conference finish since 2015. What are you doing with your team now to keep them ready for the Pac-12?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy time, obviously, for everyone, including us. It's just it's strange. It's uncharted territory. Nobody's been here, at least nobody in our time, and it's something that at first kind of hit us, and like there's a part where we mourn a little bit, kind of like this sucks. Why is this happening, and all that stuff. But then at some point, you kind of just have to get over it, take charge, and just do what you can. And one thing that we always wanted to get into a little bit more was visualization with our team. And so this has been a perfect time for us. And we have some of the best people in the world in our department, athletic department. Bob Bowman, our swim coach, who trained Michael Phelps through 2 Olympics from the day when he started swimming. So, we have the best of the best here to teach us that stuff. So we've been trying to do that, and our players are really enjoying it. And, it's something that, we're training, where if we can't train our muscle the way we're used to, we can train our brain to do things that we would like it to do. So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. I think you and I met back when you were at UTSA. You've had a lot of success in coaching and as a player. Why don't we start off by you talking a little bit about your volleyball career?
Oh my God, that feels like it's like somebody else's life at this point. I was actually playing volleyball since I was 9 years old, started in Serbia, in a small town. And, from there, went from playing for national team, playing for 2 clubs in Serbia. And then I went on and played at the University of Washington, had a pretty good career there. We ended up winning national championship my senior year, which was an amazing way to end the college. And then actually that happened in San Antonio. So it was in 2005 in San Antonio. So when I was getting done to be playing volleyball and all that good stuff, when I knew it was time to hang up my playing shoes, I reached out to a couple of friends and was able to get a job at UTSA. And, when that opportunity presented, I was like, wow, what a coincidence. That's where it all ended, and it would be cool for everything to start there. So was blessed with the opportunity, had a good time in San Antonio, met some really, really cool people there. That took me to Miami, University of Miami, where I worked with Ken Ogandara, one of my favorite people ever. Ken was my coach in college that senior year when we won. And then, Rhodes got me to ASU, and at first I was the assistant coach, and then I got a head coaching job, and this is going to be my 4th year as a head coach, and pretty excited about the future of this program, pretty excited to be here.
That's awesome. Midwest to the
There
East
was a
Coast.
period of time there where I played professional volleyball for 8 years after college at Washington, when I was at Washington, and then I started coaching at San Antonio. I played professional in Puerto Rico, Korea, Switzerland, Greece for 2 years, Italy for 2 years, 1 year in Azerbaijan. So yeah, it was a fun experience. I'm definitely blessed, and volleyball has been a huge part of my life, and I absolutely adore it.
Absolutely. How many years of coaching did it take you to kind of establish your style of coaching?
I think I'm still establishing my style. It's funny because when I played, a lot of coaches and a lot of teammates all over the world kind of they would just casually just drop in and say, oh, one day you're going to be a good coach. And I'm like, coach? I don't want to be a coach. I'll get offended with that stuff. And they're like, but, but I also always felt like teammates, coaches will always gravitate towards me whenever something going on the team. Again, I wouldn't even speak the language, and they would come to me for advice. And I'm like, what does it shrink on my forehead? So Yeah, they will always say things like, I mean, a lot of them would say that in different languages and different like nationalities. And it was just so strange to me. And again, like I would get offended. And then when it was time to stop playing and it was time to, do something else, I just couldn't imagine my life without volleyball. I had it at a point in my life for 24 years. So I couldn't do it. And some of my friends were like, well, you can play volleyball 2-3 times a week, recreational. And I'm like, what? Like you go from playing twice a day to recreational 3 times a week? Yeah, you're crazy. So, yeah, I absolutely love it. And, I hope as a coach, I always continue growing and evolving and learning. I think as far as like the system we're coaching, I was pretty blessed to learn from one of the best coaches in the world, Jim McLaughlin. And I still rely on Jim a lot and go to him a lot with a lot of questions. And so, the game is evolving. The players are more physical than ever. They're taller, they're jumping higher and all that good stuff, but game's the game. And so at the end of the day, also people play volleyball. So I think it's super important to get to know people, and more so now than ever before. I think these new generations want to be accepted for who they are. They want you to know them, and it's super important. And so you can be the best coach and have this amazing system and all that stuff, but if you don't care for people, if your people don't care for you, then you're just never going to get them to play that good volleyball you want them to play. So I always say, yes, volleyball is important, but you have to get to know the people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, when I ask my coaches, my recruits, what's one of the most important parts of you with deciding your college, and all of them in their top three say the coaching staff. And, a lot of them have very broad answers in what makes a great coach in their mind. But, I think most of my recruits always say, I want them to listen. I want them to hear what I want to get better at. I want to keep getting better. I want to keep learning. And so to be able to relate to a coach, to feel like they can have the back and forth dialogue. And I think that's something that really makes you stand out, is you're so easy to talk to. And I think you're able to kind of bring people to your level, and it makes them want to open up and really buy into what you're coaching. What do your players say though? If I were to ask them, what is your favorite part about playing for Coach Sanja? What would they
Yeah,
say?
I think you would get kind of a little bit of mixed responses, because I was assistant coach to some of them at some point. And so there was a point where, I had to make that switch from being assistant coach to being a head coach. And that's not, I'm the same person, but my job is not the same. I write in the lineup. I'm the one who decides who travels. And so those are the things that they fear. Those are the things that they, start to get, they want that, so it, so I would say the ones that were recruited recently by me would say that I am that person that I want them to know me as. But there was a period of transition, and I think I feel like at times that I'm closer to freshmen and sophomores that I have right now than I would be to juniors and seniors in some aspect, because of just having to bridge that difference of me being a head coach and me being assistant coach. It's weird, like, when I was assistant coach, they would come to me about anything, like, school related issues, boyfriend issues, you name it. And then I just switched offices, and they would like just avoid me like plague. They would never tell me anything. And I was just like, it's just me, it's still same good old same me. They would not, they would not see me like that. And so it took a minute for them to realize that stuff. And so yeah, but I think one thing you'll hear about our, myself, my staff, Carlos, Emily, Ryan, we all strive to, first and foremost, people. We have relationships with our players, and I think we're one of the only ones, or if not the only program in a country that has a life coach. I'm a firm believer that that's kind of like where we're heading. A lot of these celebrities and people that are out there and managing busy lives and whatnot, they have life coaches. And I'm not saying that athletes are celebrities, but athletes are definitely managing busy lives, and so am I, and so is my assistant coach. And so we all have lives to manage, and we can't forget ourselves. And we had to hire, I felt like it was important to hire life coach, something that our women's basketball program has done for 15 years now, and they have tremendous success. And the way how the culture of that program is something that I would definitely love to have within my program. So yeah, we hired a life coach this past year, and it's helped us a lot with our relationships, with taking care of ourselves and so on.
No, I think that's awesome because I think, as a recruiting coordinator, I would say most of my freshmen struggle at one point or another, especially their freshman year. That adjustment from high school and club and living with their parents to the college world is huge. And it's something you can't really put your finger on until you're actually there. So
Mhm.
as a freshman in your program, have you like already established how much time they're going to get to have access to the life coach, or how is that going to be balanced?
So in off season, we meet with her 2 hours a week. In season, we're going to meet with her for about an hour and a half, depending on time. But they all have access to her at all times. Like, so we're meeting as a team, but all of us have her phone number. All of us can call her at any time. I mean, it can range from anything like, hey, I struggle with this class and I don't know how to reach out to this professor. And so she will not solve that problem for them, but she will like, okay, so when you do these things, how does it make you feel? And so like, she does the same stuff with me, like, hey, there's a conflict solving, like usually with them, it's how to approach somebody that's hard to approach, or how to find time to take care of yourself during the day, so it's pretty amazing, the broad spectrum of things that she can help them with. But at the end of the day, like they do the work and we do the work as coaches, we do the work, but it's so nice to have somebody to guide you through a thought process. And it's really, at the end of the day, you're like, when you talk to her and you're done, you're like, huh, really, that's not that complicated. It's like, it's kind of, but you don't think about it like that. And so it's so nice to have that person there to help us through it. And she's guided, like, over the last 20 years, so many successful athletes and coaches around the country and the world. So it's really nice to have her as part of our staff.
That is awesome. Well, I haven't heard of many schools having a life coach, so great.
Yeah, we have, I would say a lot of schools have sports psychologists, a lot of schools have counselors, and we have those too.
Mhm.
But this is something unique that has nothing to do with like managing anxiety. It has everything to do with to prepare to not have anxiety, how to manage your life so you don't have the anxiety, so you don't have to get to the point where you're overwhelmed. So unfortunately we can't start connecting her with our freshmen until they're here, so there's no way to prep them on that level. But once they're here, they can reach out to her at any point. And with her, it's more like, it's less like tutors, and like it's not mandatory. It's more like if you feel like doing it. And there are not a lot of those moments when you're a freshman in college.
Yeah.
So when they take ownership of that, it's pretty awesome. Like how they can, hey, look, I need help managing this. So, and I have this person here and I'm away from mom and dad. And at one point you realize you don't want to stress mom and dad, because you're like, okay, I'm complaining, but mom is so far away and she's stressed out. She can't do anything.
Yeah.
So it's so nice to have this person to help you guys, to help us with everything we're doing. So
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Speaking of moms, I know that you're now learning a whole new occupation life as a mother to Stella. Have you noticed that it's changed your coaching at all, or your perspective in relation to the athletes?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just like, everything happens in our life. I kind of relate to my kids, like my kids, my athletes, and their parents, like even dropping her off in daycare for the first time and crying on the way to a team meeting. And actually I called this life coach and I'm like, I'm a mess. We're supposed to have a meeting right now. I don't know what to do. And she was crying and she would not let go. And I'm leaving her with these people she doesn't know. And I'm talking to her and she's like, so that's how it feels like for parents when they drop off their freshmen. And I was like, what? She's like, and we talk about it and it's so true. And it's like, she's like, before you took her to that daycare, I hope you toured a lot of daycares. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what they do when they go on campus visits. They tour a lot of campuses, and they, talk to a lot of coaches and then decide who they trust with their kid, and so true. It's the same. It's absolutely the same. The only difference is my kid can't speak for herself. And, hopefully one day she will be able to speak for herself in those situations. But it's just, as a parent, you still feel the same way. I can't, you dropped off your kid in college and, she's graduating, but it's kind of like I hope one day when I drop her off in college, I'm not going to be such a mess, but everybody's telling me, yeah, you will be.
Yeah. No, and you think it gets easier with your second child. No, it doesn't. It's all its own individual experience. Sorry to tell you.
But it's definitely made me, I would say, in practice, I would have a mom here and a coach here, so like, if let's say I'm preparing the team for a game and, we're in a part of the season where we have to go 6-on-6 and I need to prepare them to play Stanford. Yeah. And I need to get Stanford like players on the other side, I need to get Catherine Plummer somehow on the other side to hit against my team. And so we usually get our male practice players to do that. But to do that, some of my players have to sit on the side and not participate in 6-on-6. And, and you see them and they seem sad. And, mom in me is like, oh, she's so sad. Let her play. It's so mean. You're so mean. And then the coach in me is like, well, you got to get the team ready for the weekend. What are you going to do about that? So it's kind of like constant fight.
Down the middle.
No. Yeah. So it's just, it's been fun and it's been awesome. It's the best and the hardest job I've ever had. And before that, before I was a mom, I always used to say the best and the hardest job I always ever had was being a student athlete in college. So, and now it's being a mom. So it's kind of, those two are probably my favorite and most difficult experiences I've ever experienced.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And on that note, I think that's maybe the other aspect I think a lot of college students maybe have to adjust to. And some, I think it comes more naturally than others. But how do you at Arizona State help your athletes balance academics with the rigors of a D1 volleyball program?
We have tons of help. And that's like one thing that I always try to stress for them. They've never received this amount of help, even in high school, like it's different when you have parents and you have to pay for tutors or whatnot, in this instance, you have everything accessible to you. Like, we have mentors for them. Each freshman will get a mentor that they have to meet weekly. That we have obviously our own academic advisor. We have campus academic advisors. We have tutors. Just it's the amount of support they receive is, honestly, the only way you would fail academically in college, with us for sure at ASU, is if you tried to fail. I mean, that's the only way you can fail. And even at that, we will hunt you, we'll find you, we'll drag you out. We'll make sure that you succeed, because at the end of the day, like if you don't leave from college with a degree, then what was it for, So.
Yeah, no, awesome. That's great. So I think the other part that they have to ask me is, what is the social life like? What do they do on the weekends? They spend all this time in the gym and with you, but then when volleyball's over and they're going home on the weekends, what's your culture like on the weekends? Are they close to each other? Do they live with each other?
Yeah.
A bit about that.
A lot of my players are really like, they either live together or they live in the same apartment complexes, because some of them are, just like their own privacy. So they live alone, but they live in the same apartment complex with their teammates, which is really nice here in Arizona. Like they can afford to live alone with the scholarships that they get. And it's a relatively cheap area to live in. And, they all have their pools and they get together there and stuff. And, I don't have a lot of rules. One of the Keno, when I was in Miami, he used to tell me, if you establish a lot of rules, then you're going to have to police them all the time. So you're going to turn into a police officer. You're not going to be a coach anymore. And it's so true. So I try to say, hey, if what you do is not in line with your objectives, then just don't do it. And that is a little complex for like a little freshman to figure out, and so we always tell them, make decisions that will not impact the two most important things that are happening right now negatively. So your school and your volleyball, that they have to come in the first place. And then you will, if you do those two right, you will have time for social life. And I was in college. I am very, very, very aware that they will have social life, and I want them to have social life. We just try to educate them. Surround yourself with people you can trust. Don't do this. Make sure you're, it's more like a mom than a coach. Some coaches have, all these rules, dry season. For me, it's like, if you're of age and it's not illegal, and, a glass of wine at a dinner with your mom and dad is going to make you happy and they're okay with that, I mean, who am I to say no? So I think it just, it's one of those deals that they grow and they change. And sometimes you have freshmen come in and they want to do everything, and then you have to go time out, slow down. Let's not get 3 tattoos and 2 piercings in first 2 months of your college career. Like, let's talk this through. Let's save something for senior year. Yeah. Usually because by senior year, they don't want it. So it's just, it's fun to see them grow. It's fun to see them change. It's fun, and then there's a scary part. There's that freshman year when they leave parents' home and they're free, there's nobody to tell them no, but then there is. there, there is. And, what's cool is like, we create a culture where, players care enough about each other to, say things that to them, hey, don't do that. That's going to affect you negatively. Or if they keep trying enough and they're not doing anything about it and they're still worried, they'll come to me. They'll go to Carlos. They'll go to Emily. They'll say something so we know, hey, there's a red flag. We need to put our hands on this kid. And, so it just, thank God we don't have a lot of those. We don't have a lot of those situations. We really, I would say we're blessed with the kind of kid that we have in our program now. A lot of our kids they come from families or they're really, really close to their families. Their parents are involved. So I'm really happy with the kid we have right now on campus. And so it just, the things will come up and we deal with it as a family, just like families do.
You've been at a few different programs now. Are there some qualities of D1 athletes that you notice to be a commonality amongst all the D1 programs you've been at? Maybe qualities that carry onto the court and are also off the court that you see?
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, the D1 athlete, time management is huge. How you manage your time alone, not with your mom and dad managing it for you, not with somebody telling you what you have or what you don't have to do. Because when we manage your time, when you manage your daughter's time, you don't like plan in their party time. They have to manage their own time so they can manage it properly, or social life, whatnot. So would say that, time management, like desire to be elite, desire to be great. And it's, I always tell my athletes, there's 90,000 students with online school at ASU. And there's, right now we have 12 of them playing volleyball, usually about 18. I mean, do the percentages, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And so I always tell them, you signed up to be elite. With that comes the responsibility to not just act, but like full-time commit to being elite. And I would say in all the schools I was at, that's something that separated just an average athlete from elite athlete, from the best ones on the team. The desire to be elite on and off the court. And, of course, there are a couple, offs where you can have somebody who's not a great student, but a great athlete. But those are so rare in volleyball, so rare. Usually like you're, 3.5 and up are matching with being an elite volleyball player. It's just how it is. And I can't put a finger to it, but only thing I can think about is being elite, desire to be great.
Yeah, we can't teach that passion. We can't teach that kind of that perfectionism to want to just keep getting better and be the best we can. And boy, are we all being challenged right now to find new ways to be great, new ways to be better. And I know that social media, Zoom, all these different ways of connecting online. And I know I heard from one of the coaches, it's not social distancing, we're physically distancing, because the social need for us all to keep connecting is huge. So, so what are you doing at Arizona State to help connect your school to athletes via social media?
We're trying to, post as much as we can on our Instagram account, Twitter account, all that good stuff. It's just, they have to click on it. They have to be the ones who are, looking for that stuff. But, big thing for us in this off season has been, it's something that we talked about actually in our last life coach meeting. We talk a lot about power of 10 moments. Like every meeting we have with our life coach, she starts it with say, hey, let's share our 10 moments. And our 10 moments are like highlights of the week. I mean, it can be anything from like getting an A on a test to, just like just some great things to recently we've all noticed that our 10 moments are something, so they're so small. They're like little things, just, and right now I can't, I would have to get my book out, but it's little things that bring joy in our life. And usually like every other day, it had to be something great. It had to be something, just big time commitment or, like an A on a test. But right now it's simple as I completed my assignment on time. look at that. Or like, I had a moment today when Stella just squeezed my face and gave me a kiss and said, I love you. It's like moments that are,
Mhm.
we usually don't even have time to pay attention to those little moments. And now they're 10 moments in our life. And so we asked for everybody to share their 10 moments with us on their social media. And, we try to keep up with them and share our 10 moments on there so they can keep up with it. But it has nothing to do with volleyball. It's never like, oh, we won this match, or, it's just people, what happens to you, So, I don't know. It's been hard. It's been challenging. It's especially like we're keeping up with our committed kids and talking to them, because we can't talk to them, but there's a whole group of kids we can talk to, and it's I feel for them, but at the same time, this all shall pass, and we'll get there, and it's going to be okay. We'll get out of this stronger and better, including them. It's going to be okay.
Absolutely. So if a recruit says to me, what's the best part about playing volleyball for ASU? What makes them so special? What would you say?
I'd say people. I'd say the conference we play in. I'll say the academics. Something that a lot of people don't know about ASU is we have one of the top 8 honor colleges in the country, and it's about 5,500 but like students in the department, and they're unbelievable students. I mean, the acceptance rate is super low. It's elite. It's a college within our college. And so, usually people just judge these 70,000 that are on campus, or 20,000 are online, based on like average SAT scores. But then if you look at this 5,500 and their SAT scores, they're in line with Ivy League schools, they're in line with Stanford. It's elite student that we have here. So we have elite academics, amazing area we live in. I mean, it's, we're doing 75 to 85 right now. It's beautiful. We get 350 sunny days in a year. It's beautiful, and close to the airport. I mean, on the top of everything else, you get this amazing academics, amazing athletic conference you're competing in. We're getting better every day, and I'm super excited for the future of our program. And so all these things, and then you have good people to play with and spend 4 years with. And I always ask myself, when I recruit a kid, I say, do I want to see this kid for next 4 years every day? and if I say yes to that, then I'm like, okay, then that's a kid I want. And I hope the same thing for them. Do I want to see this coach for the next 4 years every single day? So it's just kind of, I think it's a really, really special place. And, there are times where Carlos and I talk about it. We're like, man, if I had visited ASU before I went to college, might have been a little bit different. It is definitely a special place, and I love it.
Well, that's awesome. I think that might be a good place to end our interview, unless there's anything else you want to make sure future potential recruits know about your program that we didn't bring up.
I'd say something that is really good for us in this situation as a school. A lot of our classes have options to be online. So we can go online pretty much with any class. And this is not during pandemic phase. This is we're equipped more than any other school in the country. We're the largest online school in the country. And so our students are very familiar with it. My sister is a college student, and she's a volleyball player too at Towson University. And, this is the first time she's doing anything online as heavy as this, and my athletes are almost used to it. And it's just something that, we're so used to operating under, in these conditions. So it's not uncommon. We're still doing really well in our classes. And, our academic coach and I talk, and he always tells me, Coach, we got it, because I worry about, they're not with him and whatnot. He's a coach. We got it. We're good. They're used to this. Nothing to worry about.
That's huge. I mean, especially when you guys are traveling and they're on their way home, they can get started on their classes right away. From personal experience, my daughter is, playing volleyball, and she's a journalism major, and she had to be in the actual, newsroom doing a lot of her projects. So she wouldn't get home until, 11 o'clock when they're on the road, and then be in the newsroom, or, working on her, more physical classes, until, 2, 3 in the morning. So that's great. Access.
We have, we have labs, and we have newsroom as well. We have those where they will have to go in person. Obviously that's a little bit different right now during pandemic, but they there, you know, I like my athletes to take in-person classes as much as they can, because I really believe you see it, you hear it, you learn it. And we, as a freshman, you don't get a chance to take a lot of online classes, because we want you to show us that you can be successful on your own.
True.
And then we'll let you take online classes. So that's, you know, there's that balance. But like as a department, as academic department, you know, we're so used to managing online classes that, you know, for us, this is not really, you know, that hard or that uncommon, you know, outside of the fact that, you know, we're not next to each other, but, you know, all this Zoom and all the ways that we can connect online and still socialize without, you know, with physical distancing, it's still doable. And I think we do a good job with staying connected with our players, with our staff, and making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, so we can be successful when we come back, because, you know, we never know when we're going to get called. It's going to be in 2 weeks or 2 months, or, you know, we don't know, but we will be ready when it comes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So nice talking with you.
You
You have your players call you Sanja?
They do call me Sanja, yes.
I love it. All right, Sanja.
I always tell them, I don't call you player Christina, so you don't call me Coach Sanja. So we keep it as Sanja and Christina.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again, and we'll keep you and your family and Stella and everyone in our prayers, and we'll look forward to seeing you back in the gym.
Can't wait to see you guys again.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks. Bye.